Did Cedar Fair abandon GCI? Cedar Fair loves GCI, but it seems they are about to abandon them. Join me today as I explain why, or why not, Cedar Fair abandoned GCI. To completely understand what's going on with Cedar Fair and GCI, we need to have a little context. Cedar Fair went to GCI and contracted them to build Renegade at Valley Fair back in 2007. They were satisfied with the job GCI did, so they contracted them again only 2 years later to build Prowler at Worlds of Fun. They then built Gold Striker at California's Great America and recently Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. None of these Woodies went to any of the acquired Paramount Parks Cedar Fair bought. A few months ago, the coaster community was buzzing about some leaked papers showing plans for a potential coaster coming to Dorney Park in 2021. The coaster was known to be a Gravity Group Shuttle coaster and was rumored to be opening at Dorney Park as the second shuttle coaster ever for the 2021 season. Since 2020 happened, those plans were cancelled. Or were they? In the beginning, it seemed the coaster would be cancelled, but now it looks like it's on track just for a year later, 2022. This makes sense as Dorney Park's biggest competitors all have opened record-breaking coasters recently. Hershey Park, which is only about an hour away from Dorney Park, recently opened Candymonium, a B&M hypercoaster in 2020, while Six Flags Great Adventure, which is a little further away, is opening Jersey Devil for the 2021 season. Being that Hershey and Great Adventure just got or are getting brand new coasters, it only makes sense for Cedar Fair to show Dorney Park some respect and give it a brand new coaster. Dorney Park is way overdue for a coaster. For the last bunch of years, Cedar Fair hasn't really invested that much into Dorney Park, and its last coaster was already removed from the park. That's kinda sad. So the park is due for a replacement, and it seems that another coaster may need to make its way out of the park now too. Sadly enough, that's the park's newest addition, an addition that came right before their latest coaster, which was already removed. So Dorney really needs a coaster. For wooden coasters, all they have is Thunderhawk, a PTC Woodie from the 1920s that's about to have its 100th birthday. With Dorney being so overdue for a coaster and its neighboring competitors all getting new ones recently, Cedar Fair has no choice but to give them a coaster. So they look to be getting a Gravity Group Shuttle coaster. While that may not be the greatest addition a park could ask for, it's a solid coaster and would fit perfectly in Dorney Park's lineup. You're probably wondering why I decided to talk about Dorney Park's next coaster in a video about Cedar Fair and GCI. Well, that's because the two are directly related. Gravity Group and GCI are huge competitors. So if Cedar Fair is starting to work with Gravity Group, that begs the question, did Cedar Fair abandon GCI? I think the answer to that question is yes and no. GCI is one of the best wooden coaster manufacturers, and they have built some of the best wooden coasters in existence. Cedar Fair wouldn't just leave a company that's good. But there's a catch. Cedar Fair had this streak of working with one manufacturer for a while, and then moving on to another for a while before moving to the next. They built a bunch of RMCs with Twisted Timbers, Steel Vengeance, and Railblazer, then decided it's time for a break. Since then, they haven't built another RMC, but in 2019 they went to a new manufacturer, Mack Rides. Cedar Fair has been switching off between manufacturers a lot over the last decade, and the only manufacturer they stuck with the whole time is B&M. So, why does Cedar Fair do this? Why do they go on a buying spree getting many coasters from the same manufacturer and then abandoned them for a bunch of years? I think the simple answer to this is because it makes sense financially. You see, Six Flags tends to buy 5 or 10 of the same rides and put them into a bunch of their parks because then they get a better deal from the manufacturers since they are signing a bigger contract with them. Cedar Fair isn't that different. While they may not clone the same ride over and over, it still makes sense for them to buy in bulk from manufacturers. If they come to a manufacturer and make a deal to purchase 3 coasters over a few-year period from that manufacturer, they will get each of those coasters for a little cheaper than they would have paid if they got each one individually. So Cedar Fair worked with GCI in 2007 to build Renegade at Valley Fair, and again in 2009 to build Prowler at Worlds of Fun. In 2013, they built Gold Striker at California's Great America, and 2017 brought Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. Until now, Cedar Fair worked with GCI every 2 to 4 years to build a wooden coaster. 2021 will mark 4 years, and we expect a new Woodie to be built. But 2020 happened, so let's say it would have been pushed back to 2022. Yes, a Woodie was rumored to be built in the Cedar Fair chain in 2021 and now pushed to 2022. But the rumored coaster isn't a GCI. It's looking like Cedar Fair is working on a project with the Gravity Group, a direct competitor of GCI. I think this is a good sign we will see Cedar Fair work with the Gravity Group over the next few years, installing a few of their coasters. Parks that didn't recently get an RMC or GCI coaster would be contenders for a Gravity Group coaster. Now Cedar Fair may decide to purchase a few small-scale Gravity Groups for their smaller parks, like Dorney Park, or the small coaster for Dorney may be the start to something a whole lot bigger. Gravity Group built the Voyage at Holiday World back in 2006 and 27 other Woodies worldwide, which are widely considered some of the best coasters to ever be built. Maybe Cedar Fair will decide to build a massive Gravity Group Woodie like Voyage at Cedar Point, or Carowinds, or maybe they'll build a smaller Gravity Group Woodies like the one going to Dorney hopefully in 2022. When everyone decided it was time for Cedar Point to get a new coaster, one of the most talked about coaster predictions was a GCI Woodie that featured some of GCI's new steel track allowing for inversions. Now while that may be a possibility, the Gravity Group has been using steel track to add inversions to Woodies for a while. Why would Cedar Fair not go to them instead? None of the former Paramount Park Cedar Fair acquired got new Woodies from the chain, and I think the chain may look to call on the Gravity Group for a possible Woodie in Carowinds or some of the others over the next decade. So to answer the question, did Cedar Fair abandon GCI? I think the answer to that question is yes, but only for a little while. I think Cedar Fair is looking to take a break from the well-known GCI and move on to build some coasters from the Gravity Group. That isn't to say they will abandon GCI, rather I think they won't be working with them in the next few years. Once we're on the topic of Cedar Fair working with Gravity Group, I'm going to give my predictions to which parks I can see getting a Gravity Group coaster. Maybe Cedar Fair can give some of their smaller parks a smaller scale Gravity Group Woodie, or even have them restack some parts of their older wooden coasters and add some inversions to them. I think California's Great America can possibly get a Gravity Group as their next coaster, and maybe even Cedar Point if they aren't getting the Gerstlauer. I think Carowinds could be another park Cedar Fair looks at to install a massive Gravity Group coaster, and maybe even Canadas Wonderland. I'm making a really bold prediction, predicting that Cedar Fair will move from GCI to Gravity Group as their go-to wooden coaster manufacturer in the coming years. I haven't seen anyone talk about this, and the idea originated from Jiminy Fan, who left a comment on one of my videos making me realize the potential future relationship between Cedar Fair and the Gravity Group. So please share your thoughts with me on Cedar Fair working with Gravity Group over GCI in the comments. This video originated from the comment section, and I read every comment. I'm also trying to get to my goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So if you can hit that subscribe button, it really means a lot. Thanks.